All right, so you can pull out the worksheet now. If you don't have access to it, you can grab it from the chat link there. Looks like this. It's going to be evolving though too. So if you're watching this later, it may look different than this. Um, so this is a monthly worksheet. So this is something you can do every month to focus and to tune into your vision and to create who you're becoming to do the things you want to do. Make sense? Yeah, I love this. So first of all, put at the top the month and the year. Um, yes, great. All right, put the month at the top of the and the year at the top. And then think about one thing you're celebrating. Acknowledge, write down one thing you're celebrating. So it could be anything you've done in the last 30 days, okay? Because this is the first time you're doing it. And you'll always do this in this process because that's how you keep going, you know. And it could be more than one thing. You can make a list of acknowledgments, as small or big as you want. It can be, I posted on my social media, I wrote a client, I said no to an opportunity that I didn't think was good for me. It can be anything. You know, I painted for 2 hours. Like whatever it is that you feel like um you it was an accomplishment, then I want you to write it down. Something you're proud of. Yes, absolutely. Feel free to list them out. Okay, so type some in the chat if you want. Just I would love to just hear some ones and some more examples of acknowledgments for what you've accomplished in the last month. Imperfectly counts. Definitely. Okay, so donated stuff reframed a painting and it looks awesome. Great. And donating stuff, I know that you were clearing clutter last time we spoke, so that's a big one. So clearing stuff out and donating stuff. Okay, great. Oh wow, contacted 37 support groups to let them know what you're putting out. Whoa, that's amazing. Landing page and ads. Wow, that's a lot in a month. Okay, great. Creating social media posts for a client and gradually growing followers. Great. Beautiful. Yes, 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 progress. Launch a visioning circle. Uh, put it in an order out. Oh, got it. Received an order. Okay. Caught up on your bookkeeping, set new goals. Great. Awesome. Yeah, and it's funny because admin tasks don't seem important, but they are. Like you have to do it. And it's part of being a business owner. So knocking that stuff out is a big deal. And it feels good too. When my QuickBooks has a little thing like, you have reconciled, I have this really strong hit of some kind of chemical in my brain. So I don't think I'm alone either. All right. Okay, cool. This is great. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So now think about that energy from that place of like you've made progress, right? And no progress is too small, right? So any progress you've made, you're showing up for stuff and signing up for this program counts. Hello. Like stepping into this container, this program is also an accomplishment because you're saying that you're willing to put more energy into your business and grow in community and and all the things. So yay. All right. So now think about an intention for the next 30 days. So think about an intention that you want to create. So the way I look at intention is you're creating possibility. So it could be a word, sort of like a mantra, like this is the theme of the month. It could be something you want to create or cultivate or even receive. So it's something that, it's something that resonates for you with where you're at and where you want to go. And it's you setting an intention of your direction. This intention is. And I wanted to keep it simple because you don't want it to make it too complicated. So one word, you just said focus earlier. Focus is great. I can do this. Great. I love that one. A lot of clients set intentions are like clarity, support, um, uh, innovation, creativity. If you've been my client, and you've set intentions and you have more they want to share, feel free. But they're endless. Great. I love that. The way is open. Yeah, that's beautiful. Ah, I like that. It's a very expansive way to look at it. Okay, great. Ah, great. This is so fun. I'm so glad y'all are here. Welcome, welcome. All right. So if you don't have you have the worksheet on you? Did you get the worksheet?
Um,
You're frozen. Not
should I
sure
go
what's
back
happening there. I'm just
to?
gonna put it in the chat just in case. Nope. Okay. All right. So then once you have your intent, okay, structure is another intention there. I like that. Yes. Yeah. Excitement for growth. Beautiful. I like that. Kept within the 3 words, but maxed it out. Okay, great. Okay. So then from that intention, like what is one priority that would support that intention? So one priority that you know is coming up in your business that you could prioritize next in your business. So not 6 months down the road or a year or 5 years, but just like what's next? The next thing that is a priority for you in your business, and like write it down. The main priority this next month is what?
So I have two main intentions for this month. Is that like
And
the
it could be just stepping into the structure of this format, could be showing up for this program. It could be getting caught up with something. It could be clearing clutter. It could be making outreach for sales. It could be editing your website. Like there's a billion different things it can be, which I know can be overwhelming. So, or it could be like a bigger theme like marketing. And then underneath that, you can create like what that is, or more visibility, whatever you want to call it. So what are some priorities that you all are saying? Okay, so painting, yeah. And launching an online drawing workshop. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it's great. Inventory, clarifying a Facebook business page. Okay, great. Beautiful. All right. Getting a program application online and ready to go. Okay, great. So a way for people to apply to your program, getting that going. Awesome. Great. I love that. Okay, beautiful. Thank you all. More visibility is a larger theme. Okay. And building a referral base is part of that as well. Great. Okay. I love it. Okay. So this is the bigger theme here. So then why is this a priority? So write it down. This is a priority because why? So I want you to touch that why. Why is that a priority for you right now? I love to hear your why as well. Why is this a priority now? Why now, even, you know? Sometimes that question, why now, adds a sense of urgency that's needed for us to really commit to it. So I like that one. Okay. Yeah, because you have commitments to finish the painting, excited to teach. Okay, knowing what you have so people can see and be visible. Great, those two things. Um, to get more new clients who share similar values. Great. All right. A couple more typing, I think. Next step to create program success. Okay, to give people access to it. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Very exciting. Okay, so now you're going to break it down a little bit. So don't be intimidated by the number of blanks here. You may not have like a ton of things here, especially if you have a newer business. But think about what projects, one project at a time, that can support this priority. Okay. So not the actions themselves, but the bigger projects. Okay. So because like sometimes people just go to actions without looking at the project and then breaking down the project into actions. And I just want to really distinguish between those here. The project is the bigger picture pieces, you know. Um, Sometimes on my to-do list, I'll have categories of things for different kinds of projects, you know. So I'll have a social media one, and I'll have a client one, and I'll have a what else? Um, like admin category, you know, so like those different things that are next. So that's the projects I'm talking about, those categories. Yeah, and well, yeah, definitely. A project has an end date, with milestones and tasks underneath it. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so a project, well, and then we're going to break down the actions for the project separately. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So a project, yeah, and this is a month-long thing you're focused on. So not like, I mean, you might be making progress on something that you want to finish in 6 months or a year, but you know, right now we're just thinking about what's happening in the next 30 days or yeah, 30 days ish. Great. Great. Okay, planning a series of consistent artworks. Beautiful. Okay. So then with each project, you can number your projects and then like put numbers underneath for the actions too. But like to pick a project and then write down the first actions you would do for that project. So for example, planning a series of consistent artworks, you know, it could be get more art supplies, it could be clear out part of my studio, it could be, you know, pull out my sketchbook to find ideas, it could be sketch ideas, it could be go to a museum to get ideas. um, you know, so it's like what do you need to be able to do that? And it may be unconventional sometimes what you actually need, you know, like go to the museum, art museum to get inspiration or something. Um, yeah, you don't have to have more than one project now. You can take one project and then break those actions down in the next section for sure. Yeah, great. Okay, so then let's break it down. So one of the things that overwhelms people sometimes is they don't break things down enough. So if you take your actions, take a project, one project at a time, and then you break down the actions that you want to prioritize moving toward that project. What will support that project? Okay. Creating an outline mind map of your business growth areas. Great. Okay. So getting a bigger picture of different areas where your business can grow. I like that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be working in your business. It can work on your business too. Because a lot of times we're missing that bigger picture. Because working in your business is like the gopher, like digging in the ground, doing the things, and working on your business is stepping back and seeing the bigger picture. Because you are the visionary of the business, your own business. So that's an important thing to have that time for sure. And if you haven't done a visioning workshop with me, you'll have access to that. So I recommend that as well. Yeah, blocking time on your calendar using Pomodoro method. Yes. Okay. So putting it in your calendar. So a lot of times people don't have a system broken down to actually do the things. And so for me, it is my phone. It's my phone to like actually put it in my calendar in my phone. It'll get done. I may have a bunch of to-do lists or like bigger picture ideas or bulletin boards of stuff, but where the rubber hits the road is my phone list of things to do there. Because if I don't do it in a day, I'll move it somewhere else. So, and then Pomodoro method is like it's a 25-minute block. Is that right, Marshall? 25-minute block. Yeah. Yeah. And the other day I did one of those myself. I put my timer in my kitchen on 25 minutes. So I had to like get up and go back in the kitchen after it was over because it's like a beeper that won't stop. So I really like that. So 25 minutes, 5-minute break, and then times three. Okay, great. All right. And then after that, you take a 25, 30-minute break. Great. All right. I like it. You can Google that and find out more about it if somebody wants to try it. Can work on paintings. And, okay, so there's two different projects there. So work on painting for a client 3 days a week for 2 hours each day, so 6 hours a week. And then for the workshop launch, create marketing material, fine tune the content, reach out to individuals in newsletter and social media. Great. Yeah. And then break it down even more, like you can put it in your calendar now if you want to. We have time. One thing I want to say is that I want you to create one stretchy action. So something that would not have happened otherwise, unless I'm asking you this question today. So it's a stretch goal. So something you're stretching into that you think would be really good for your business that you're like, okay, you kind of don't want to do it, but like you want to stretch into it. And it's simple. It can be simple. Okay, draft email to friends, figure out your referral program and discounts. Great. Okay, like it. And then you can also get feedback on that draft too. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay, great. So stretch goal somebody just brought in was to run this online version of the workshop every new moon. Okay, great. Monthly or quarterly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky because sometimes when you do it monthly, people take it for granted. So quarterly is more rare and people will sign up more. So it's interesting. Marketing optimizing plan. So creating a marketing plan and optimizing it. Great. And you can break that down what that looks like. Does it look like making a list of what's working? Does it look like learning about marketing optimization or planning? Does it mean there's a billion different things there. So like what does that look like for you? And maybe even make it more tangible, like create marketing plan for the next 3 months by the end of the month. And oftentimes with the marketing plan, you also have campaigns underneath that. So you have goals you're moving toward and you have things you're doing toward those campaigns. So that could be another way to play with that too. So, and I have a marketing, hour and a half marketing workshop that you have a 70% off coupon to right now. So if you haven't had marketing training, I recommend that. I think you have though. I think you have a background in design. So yeah. Okay. Figure out a planning schedule calendar, for example, on Mondays I post on social media, for example. Okay, great. So compartmentalize, break down the structure. So create, that's your stretch. Okay, I love it. Keep reaching out to folks asking for help spreading the word. Yes, absolutely. And even ask people who know people, you know, like that's really a big one too, because if it's word of mouth through connections, it's a bigger deal for people. I had one client who spent 6 months building a practice in a new like a therapy practice in a new place, and she just met with I think it was like so many new people per week for 6 months, and she had a full practice after that. And they weren't like possible clients, they were people who could send her referrals in her niche, so that was a successful campaign. Beautiful. Okay, great. So any other is anybody stuck, or does anybody want some coaching right now? Do you feel like you're clear, you're making progress? You have a stretch.
I was just curious about
Okay, send on the email to
the
database. And with
difference.
seeds for your growth, does that mean like plans for your business and what you're offering? Or is that something else? I'm just curious.
Um, you can hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Okay.
I
Oh,
don't think she can hear because
I'm good. I'm actually talking.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
You
I thought they were.
can't hear me.
Thank you.
Is it?
What'd you say, Anya? No, it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
You can't hear me.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just like confused for a minute.
no worries.
Yeah, the seeds for growth is like just planting seeds for what I have planned, like going forward. Because so far I've just been doing one-on-one work, but what I really want to do going forward is create recordings for sale, create like a program, like a group program for sale, and eventually I want to be doing retreats. But that's like, that could be like next year. I think that's a little ambitious, but
Yeah.
I do have like about 800 people in my database, like not active. Like I would say only like 10 to 15% of them would be responsive,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, but I need to start.
Yeah. Yeah. And, one thing you can do is like I did with you, I interviewed people about what they wanted, so that could be something you
Yeah.
can do is to engage people. So
Yeah. I love that. I thought that was brilliant.
it's really, really helpful. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So the next section,
Jen,
yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was curious just because if we're going to be using this workshop every month, or the worksheet, I mean, the difference between like when I wrote my main priority for this month, I wrote that I was going to be painting 2 to 3 times a week and launch that workshop.
Mhm.
But then when I got to the question about projects I want to focus on to support this priority, it was like basically the same answer in my
Yeah.
mind. I was just trying to figure out the
Yeah,
difference.
that'll happen sometimes, but for one person, it was the main priority was more visibility. And then the project it could be like social media growth and email marketing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So sometimes
got
the
it.
main priority can be more overarching.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
More like a theme in a way, Yeah. Thank you. Good question.
I like that because it's nice to be able to think in those terms first too.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, great. So the next section is acknowledging something that you're resisting or avoiding or afraid of. So as you move into this next month and you have this list of things to do, if your body feels any kind of contraction or your breath hesitates a little bit, especially when you think of your stretchy action, then what's happening there? Just acknowledge it. And I say it's an ankle biter, and an ankle biter is a thing that's like, it's not stopping you from moving forward, but it's kind of like you're dragging it around and it's like slowing you down, you know? A client of mine said that years ago, and I love that. So acknowledge if there's anything that you're resisting or avoiding or afraid of in this process, and just write it down to start. And you can share that in the chat if you want. So what's coming up for you, basically? Okay. So resisting sending your work to, okay, got it. So resisting sending your work to a group you facilitated for free for 5 years. So saying now you're going to charge, is it the same thing or different? So it's different.
It's different.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So marketing to people that you know, who you've been giving something away to. That's like that, but that's also like the ideal audience too, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I hear you though. Okay, accountability. Selling online. Okay, so okay, you're resisting the accountability. Okay, resisting selling online. But you're gonna do it. Okay, I love it. And negative inner critic of your image. Okay, got it. Good ones. Okay, so whatever's there, thank it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing me something I couldn't see before. Thank you for showing me I'm stretching myself outside my comfort zone. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody else is posting, afraid that the workshop you're offering won't boost your income enough to make it worthwhile. So you'll just waste your energy, right? Or that you won't paint as much as you say you will. I think that's a really big fear for everybody, is like, because especially now we can put out tons and tons of stuff and nothing can come back sometimes. But remember that as you put stuff out, you're learning and you're still connecting and being visible. And sometimes when you polish here, it shines over there. So there's a lot to be said for that, you know? I've seen it over and over and over again. It's like, this was a total failure. No, it wasn't. It was me nourishing something and intention and possibility that became something else eventually, you know? Things can sprout in ways you don't see coming, you know? And you can always tweak things too, or ask people what they want more of and see if it works, you know? Those are all good ways to look at it. Okay. So about this thing that's coming up for you. So this is a shift point. Either what can you do about it, or what's a new way of looking at it. So thanking it is the beginning of transforming it, you know? It's there for a reason. It's there to keep you safe. And you're stepping outside your comfort zone. So that's why it's showing up. So what can you do about it? Or what's a new way of looking at it? So somebody's talking about the pressure when your income is month to month and you're supporting your family, like the pressure that like if it doesn't work, so there's a lot of pressure on it. So that's really about looking at the bigger picture and creating consistency, right? So that sorry, it's a new computer, sorry. So figuring out how to, so that's like, how do you create consistency in a longer term plan as well, to prevent that, right? And Yeah, I remember in my jewelry business years ago, my income was only from jewelry shows. So I was only doing shows at that point for like 7 months before January. And then in January, I was like, oh my God, I have no income and no way to make income. What am I going to do? And so I went to Kmart, and it was going out of business, and I had these little TV trays that I'm actually my computer is sitting on right now. And I bought these like used TV trays to put in my living room, and I taught jewelry classes in my living room. And the first class I taught, when I was just making up what I was doing, I had somebody buy a wholesale order that was massive. And so, like, like I just did something, and something it doesn't always work that easily. That's good. That's just an example of when it does work. But just doing something, yeah, you're doing it. Okay. All right. So here's another way to look at it. So this is the person who was talking about the group and being visible to the people yes, people may be praying for that. Absolutely. And they know you already, so there's trust. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, totally. And I've literally had people tell me I prayed for support and then you showed up. So like, seriously. And one of those people who said that to me actually. Yeah, so yeah, so that's huge. Like, so not seeing it as like I'm promoting myself, but instead I am offering a service to people who need it, and it's a very, very needed service. Absolutely. Yeah, great. Yes. Okay, any more clarity about what you can do about it, or a new way of looking at it that you want to share? Feel free. Okay, great. Some mirror work about self-image, looking at yourself with unconditional love daily. Great. Yeah. There's a thing by Mel Robbins. It's called The High Five. It's like her book, and the book is just telling you reasons why you should give yourself a high five every day in the mirror. There's a lot of science to back it up too. So maybe this might be something to check it out. Yeah. And also Amy Cuddy's work, like to build confidence in holding your arms up in the air, the power pose, or on your hips, and doing that 30 seconds or more per day. I often do this before I am about to teach, especially if I'm nervous. Or it's in person, go to the bathroom and do it even. Yes. Feels good, doesn't it? It really shifts your brain. It shifts your mind. Okay. So here's another reframe. Accountability and visibility with a sense of pride and excitement for your future. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that you're giving yourself accountability and visibility, not like you have to or whatever. You're not giving your power away to it. You're choosing it. Yes. I love that. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So somebody's asking, how can they look at their ankle biters in a new way? So I think the biggest thing for your ankle biters about the fear of not having income is faith and trust and consistency. Yeah. And, so the workshop this month is about effective strategies to create consistent income. So we'll go through a similar process to this about creating income. So I think that will be really perfect for where you're at. And I think the next month it's going to be sales, and the next month is, what was it? And the next month maybe pricing and valuing your work, something like that. And I'm open to feedback on those if you have a strong preference. Great. Yeah, once the online purchasing option for your art is in place, it creates income. Absolutely. Hopefully. Yeah. But you have to do marketing for that too, right? Yeah. So the key there is marketing for sure. Great. Okay, y'all, ready for the next step? Anybody not breathing and stuck for a second? I mean, not not breathing. I mean, just like, I know you're all alive. I can see you, but just like not, not there yet. I think you're all smiling. Okay, that's probably a good sign. Okay, great. Okay, so then from that place of new perspective and shifting your resistance, so here's the next question. What am I stepping into this month in your way of being? in order to make progress. So this question is coming from a place of like being first and then doing, or coming from a certain energy and then creating or doing something. And this is a really, really relevant thing, you know. So because where you're coming from, people can, not just people, but the universe can sense it. So if you're coming from fear of scarcity, it's like you're going to create more of that. So whatever you're creating, just, you know, notice your energy. And if you are stuck in scarcity, figure out like clarity about your bottom line and what you need, and then demand that the universe gives it to you. So James Clear talks a lot about identity and how that keeps us stuck in old habits sometimes and keeps us from creating new ones. He says every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Yeah, it's a big one. So you and your identity are huge, you know, and how you see yourself. So that moving that perspective of yourself and any kind of limiting beliefs about your from your past and how you judged yourself, possibly letting those go and stepping into a new way of being. If it's just simple little things that make a difference and move it forward. And this system, you know, like, so then in this program, we have a workshop and next week, and then we have coaching 2 weeks after that. And then the last Monday of the month, we have a implementation hour. So if you haven't done the things by that hour, we're going to be here together for you to declare what you're going to do. And then you can go do it during that hour. And this kind of support and accountability and co-working really does a lot. There's a lot of evidence that supports this concept that it's effective. So it basically, it basically, because you have a pre-commitment, you have a clear focus for the time because you declare it and the thing, you have a support and accountability among peers. And I think because it's a supportive group, it's even more effective. Okay, I have some questions going on here. So what are you stepping into? So this way of being, so it can be a different word than before. So yeah, it can be this, if it's the same, that's fine. Let's see here. More professional. Okay, great. So upping your game into the professional realm, feeling like, got it. All right. Stepping into faith that you're on a growth trajectory. Awesome. Using your gifts in the world to support yourself, a great reward for walking on a path, to have prosperity and release stress around life expenses, and perfectly reasonable to thrive, and you deserve to afford. Yes, you deserve more income. You deserve to feel like you have enough and not in scarcity, for sure. Great. And continue to do more for the many in order to stimulate a wave of healing. Great. Okay. So the way of being, just to say more about what I mean by that, it could be confident. It could be trusting. You know, it could be one word that is something that you're declaring for yourself. So it's like not just an intention, but a declaration. You know, to get through these things and do all these things, what is the thing that you're stepping into being? You know, is it consistent? Is it accountable? Is it you know, clear, motivated, whatever. There's a lot of different words you can use for how you want to show up. Great. Taking initiative and letting past mistakes go in order to move forward. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so a few things. So then at the bottom of this sheet, a few things to need to do to prepare. So basically this is just kind of like refining the things. Like, what do you need to do to prepare? What would you like support with? Or do you have questions about in the next month? So what, where do you have some doubt, or you want some more support? So, you know, make a list of areas where you're not sure how to get there. It may be tech support, it might be marketing support, it might be accountability, it might be your therapist, you know, whatever it is that you feel like would support you. Write down those things, just acknowledging that there's a way you have support from these sources that you have access to. And then write down below that where you can find it. So think about one of my favorite quotes that helped me through some rough times, and I still use it sometimes, is if I had what I needed, where would I look through it? Where would I look for it? Yeah. So having faith, absolutely. I mean, there have been so I remember somebody asked me one time, like, about doubting their business, doubting if they're on the right path and doubting their business and doubting it because there wasn't as much income as they had hoped from it. And I was like, this is totally normal. And I remember they asked me that, like, do you ever have that? And I was like, yeah, like twice a week, whatever. Like that is totally normal. And there have been times where I had it for like months, and there have been times where I don't have it for months, where I'm really stepping into it and I'm choosing it and I'm going for it. And there are times where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why is this so hard or whatever, which is not an empowering question. I don't recommend it. But that's normal, so you get to just constantly choose. It's like any commitment, you choose it, you choose to step into it and you do the next thing, and it's enough. You do what you can with what you have from where you are with what you got every day. That's all you have to do. Okay. All right. And so feel free to bring anything that you need to the coaching group too, to the group coaching this month. Anything that comes up in the meantime, you can put it in your calendar for that day so you remember. And in the meantime, you can look at the Facebook group and interact there, ask questions for each other, and get support or feedback on things. And does anybody want to say anything before we leave? Do you feel, on a scale of 0 to 10, do you feel highly motivated is 10 and 0 is nah? So show me your numbers.
What was that?
So on a scale of 0 to 10, how motivated do you feel for the month? Okay, I got 2 10s, an 8 and a 10. Okay, what else? What else? What's your motivation level at this moment? Okay, I think that's another 8. Okay, great. Another 10 and a 7. Okay, great. So those of you who are below a 10, just imagine turning the knob on that just a little bit up to at least a 9. Just like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And remember that you can do that anytime. Just like, okay, what do I, and remember that clarity is a way to get motivated too. So just looking at the next thing, like look at this list, the next thing. And I highly recommend you actually print out this paper and then mark stuff off as you do it, because there's something about that. You get like a dopamine hit or something, or serotonin, I think, maybe dopamine, I think, when you knock stuff off a list, it's real. And you can also do it electronically if you prefer to put it in your phone or something. But I highly recommend that. Great.